when I was just starting out in movies, and I was meeting a lot of film producers. There was this one producer I was talking to about this big movie with some big major male lead actors. And he said, well, if your remuneration is not what we're willing to give you, and if your scheduling is not according to these two boys, then, well, it'll be hard for us to take you in the movie. And so my representation at that point was like, well, she's Miss World. And he was like, listen, let's keep it real. Girls are replaceable. Okay? So who are people coming to watch in a movie? The guy on the poster. The girl is standing where? Behind him. So if I change her and I get another girl, she's still going to be doing the same thing. If I don't get another girl, I'll just launch a new actress. And I remember sitting there in that office, and I must have been all of 19 or 20. And somewhere, I think psychologically, it really affected me. I was like, wow, we are really replaceable. I don't want to be replaceable. And I think that lent me towards doing the paths that I chose eventually through my career. And they were not mainstream. And they were not what leading ladies do. They were not norm, because leading ladies don't say lines like that. That's why I was a supporting part in this movie, by the way. It's true.
But you got the best lines, it sounds like.
Yeah, but it was the supporting part. Because that's what supporting parts can do. The leading ladies weren't supposed to be that. We were supposed to be coy and like shy and never say anything and look pretty and have wind in our hair. And I still love wind in my hair, by the way. I act better with it. But I really wanted to change the game a little. And I think that started subconsciously.
Tell us a little bit more about that culture in the Bollywood industry of the hero and then the ladies or the girls behind him.
I think it's Hollywood too.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the movies eventually that do the numbers that they do. Very few films that you will see will actually touch the numbers that male films do. And why is that? Isn't that a reflection on us as a society? That we end up going watching those films and we make the numbers for the movies which are led by the boys. And isn't it a reflection on Hollywood or on Bollywood or any film industry that they say, all right, the numbers come from here, so let's just make these kind of movies. There are very few which have the ability to turn around and say, like we were talking about backstage, we've just about had our Wonder Woman, which is the first female big superhero movie directed by a female director. And that's in 2017. So it's a cycle of demand and supply. So while people go watch it, as soon as the audience starts saying, oh my God, we love this movie, it doesn't matter if the main lead is a male or a female, is when people are going to start making those films. And at the same time, those producers need to turn around and say, you know what, we don't care about who's coming to watch the films. We still want to make it. And that's where I think entertainment is going towards now.
So you know the film industry very well. You know producers, you know financiers. Wonder Woman was a massive hit. Is that enough to make a change? Do people listen to that kind of success?
It's a big dent.
Yeah.
It's definitely a big dent. It's a dent in the conversation. It's me being able to have an example to cite on the stage right now when we're talking about global entertainment. And that gives us the crutch to stand on something and say, all right, this happened. It can happen again. Just give us opportunities to make it happen. Let's make great films, and let's be, let gender not be a reason why a film is made or greenlit.
Interesting. Let's talk about another film that I think steps forward from what you're talking about, which is Fashion, 2008, and a film that is set within a world primarily of women, actually very different from a typical commercial movie in India. What attracted you to that project?
So this was at a time when female-led films were considered a big risk. And this was just 2008. And it was considered that, a female-led film is done by female actors at the end of their careers when they're like, oh, I want to win an award before I go down. So I was told that by so many filmmakers, and that, this is going to be a big risk. If the film doesn't do well, it's going to be on you. And I was just in the movies about 4 or 5 years, but the story resonated with me so much. And it was one of the first few female-led films which opened to a big number on a Friday. Not eventually did a big number, but which opened to a big number on Friday. And that was such a big dent in the conversation for female actors. I remember at that time. And it just, I don't know, just because everyone told me I shouldn't do it, I think I wanted to do it because of that. I remember I wanted to do a workshop for a film I did called Saath Khoon Maaf with Pankaj Kapoor, who's a very prolific theatre and film actor in India. And I went to him and I said, "Sir, I'd love to do a workshop with you. Just 10 days, give me some of your time and just like we'll go through this character." And he said, "Why do you need a workshop?" And I said, "Because I want to get into the nuances of the film." And I was like, being an actor, and I want to take it seriously. Yes. And he said, "Have you read the script?" I said, "Yes, sir, I have." And he said, "How many times?" I said, "Sir, like 5 times." He said, "Read it 10 more times." I said, "Why?" He said, "The silences between lines give you the intention of a writer. So you have to know the intention of a writer. Why is this scene what it is? And after this scene, why does that one come in next? Why not something else? Because there's got to be an intention." And that really changed me. So I start with reading a script so many times, understanding why a character goes from one scene to the other. The physicality is the last thing you do. The mental place of where a character is, where they start from, like theater, right? When you walk into a stage and when you walk out of the stage, what happens in between is the story. But what happens from the time they walked out to the next time you walk in? That's what defines the next scene. So I work with that for understanding my characters.
Does who you're acting with or against, does that make a difference in terms of your
I know
performance
the
style?
actor sucks, yeah. It wouldn't help. I've had those too.
But there's so many different styles as well. Some people are very method. Some people don't like to. Some people improvise a lot. Are there also differences between, say, a Ranbir Kapoor and his training and a Zac Efron in terms of how they might act with you?
Like completely. Like Zach he knows his lines. He needs to rehearse his lines. He talk to the director and he just keeps saying them and he works out in the middle the whole time.
Does he really?
The whole time. He does lines like this with like a resistance
Really?
Band.
Would he want us to know that?
Well, I've said it in 100 interviews.
Okay, all right.
I'll find out when I meet him next time. But and Ranbir, on the other hand, I don't even know if he knows his lines.
Really?
Like when he comes on set, he's just like, and he walks in and then he says his lines and he knows them. So, I mean, different people have different methods. I've worked with amazing method actors, which also is a different point of view. Like I'm a little bit more spontaneous and that can get dangerous sometimes because, you might not hit the nail on the head every single time, but when you do, it's sort of magic because you wouldn't have done it before and you're never going to do it again. But at the same time, I mean, there are different schools of thought. So when you work with an actor, like I worked with a co-actor of mine who loves rehearsals and I hate rehearsals. I like doing mechanical rehearsals. Like I'm going to walk here and then I'm going to pick up that spoon and I'm going to say my line. But then I've worked with actors who need to know when they're going to laugh and when the other person's going to laugh. And I don't know that. I don't know what happens between action and cut. So those times are really difficult, I guess. But when you watch the movie at the end of it, I mean, you never know. And those problems existed. It's actually the director's problem. He has to deal with it.
Now, we were thrilled 3 years ago to present the premiere of Mary Kom here at the festival. And when I saw this film, I saw it in Bombay, and I was impressed on many levels. But I think, first of all, with what must have been a ridiculously intensive training period for you. You play a boxer, a championship boxer, and it looks like you can do this. It looks real.
Well, if you